and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and we're on a Heaven and Earth design section. I didn't get much done over Easter weekend, but I have reached halfway of the second half, so 3/4 of the way. That sounds better. So yeah, I am on 75.28%. I can't actually remember when I started this. Actually, let me have a look. Maybe I do have it on my calendar. So I have me first doing a Heaven and Earth design WIP Chats on the 26th of January. And as I'm filming this, this is getting filmed on the day, the 13th of April. So what have we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, hang on. The calendar overlaps a bit. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We're on the 13th week. So if I go another 13 weeks, if we say I'm going to do about the same amount, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that would make it about the middle of July-ish for me to finish if I go at about the same pace. I'm hoping that I will speed up when it comes to nearer the end, but who knows, because things throw a spanner in the works in between otherwise. So maybe it will be after June Waffle that I will actually finish this Heaven and Earth design. We shall see. That's still well in 2023, which is my goal, to do it within 2023. So there's a chance. I actually thought I'd started it in February, so I thought I'd actually done it a little bit quicker, but yeah. Anyway, I will take it. So yeah, I hope everybody is well and feeling good. I've got a bit of a sore throat which comes up, rears its ugly head after I've been chatting for a bit. So if my voice goes, it's probably my sore throat throwing me for a little loop. But yeah, let me get this colour done and then I will go into questions. Just trying to make sure that I'm using, I've got a couple of different shades in here, so I'll just try and make sure that I'm using the same ones. But I will be glad when these blossom sections are done. That is for sure. I do find the blossom sections are very, very bitty. So having a look, I am in this sort of blossom section down here, and there looks like there's a tiny amount here, which I may actually just starting to hit. I think I'm about here. So there is hope that blossom will finish soon. I do feel that the blossom sections are all over the place. It can actually be deceiving. I think one of the sections that I did the other day, I thought it was going to take me ages because of the amount of symbols I was seeing and no real blocks. Very similar to this section. But it actually wasn't too bad because it was a lot of the same colour, just very much spread out like this is. So I had a lot of all over the place parts to it, but we shall see. It's getting there. I've not run out of another colour yet. So far I'm only down one colour, but we shall see what this one brings to the equation. See if we can get anywhere with it. Let me get those in. Right, comments, etc. So Anna, she said she had thought about contacting Uniquely Yours Down Under about the blank canvas that she needs for her 2 Heaven and Earth designs she'd like to do, but she's also thinking she might just buy the printed canvases directly from Heaven and Earth Design, and then accumulate the drills that she needs. It definitely takes the more complicated part out of the equation if you buy a canvas with the bits printed on. That is for sure. I'm actually really looking forward to doing my Heaven and Earth design on the canvas, the one that is black and white symbols. I'm really looking forward to doing that one, because, as I say, it just takes the tablet out of it, makes it very much like a normal diamond painting, but still a lot of colours. You're still using your spares up, and yeah, it'll be interesting to do that one as a little bit of a difference, a little bit of a change, especially after completing these 2 that I want to do first. If you're unsure about doing a Heaven and Earth design because of the blank canvas and the tablet, then getting the canvas is a very good way to combat that as well, because it is so much more like a normal diamond painting. But of course, you've got the higher range of colours, but you have the symbols on the canvas, which should make it easier in theory, but I haven't done one yet. So I will reserve judgment until I have finished. We got any more of these? So this is all my Blossom Colours confetti. Looks like I've got something, I think I've got a bit of blue still here. But it's definitely a lot of pinks and stuff. Have we got any 300? See, we do have a bit of 300, which is one of my favourite go-to browns at the moment. I still have quite a bit more of this one to do. I don't think this one is going to be a diamond that I can dekit anytime soon. Bernadette, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, thank you for another great WIP and Waffle. She said she really enjoys seeing the progress on Little Dreamer's tree. She said it's turning out really gorgeous, and she wishes that she was brave enough to do one that big. She said she's doing a Heaven and Earth design using Pattern Keeper, but it is a much smaller one. She said if she gets through it, then she might attempt a larger one. She said she has to concentrate completely when she is doing it. Otherwise she would end up being a hot mess. Yeah, I have to concentrate when I'm doing this. I know I do chat while I'm doing it, but this is not an evening activity for me, this Heaven and Earth design. It is definitely a more of a daytime project where all cylinders are firing, brain's not quite switched off, and then I get to work through, of course, quite a few of my others on other times. So yeah, I would definitely say, for me, it is definitely more of a daytime project. I am more of an evening person than a morning person, or at least I always used to be. But with Heaven and Earth design, I definitely need all my wits about me to have a chance of getting it completed, and that's why I normally do this as one of my first things of the day, just because the rest of my day is so busy, and if I waited until like 5 o'clock to decide to do it, I think my brain has clocked out a little bit too much by then to feel like doing my heaven and earth design. She said she's in awe of the fact that I can talk and answer questions and still know where to place my diamonds. Well, sometimes you will find if I've got a complicated one, I might pause partway through the question, or I won't read out a question if I've seen that I've got a semi-complicated bit. That's my way of trying to get through something. Oh, look, I've got one there, still only needs one. But nope, not yet. Not yet for that one. It's a ready one as well, which means it's probably in the blossom somewhere. It's probably just another few rows down. So I'll have to wait a bit. Bernadette says she was also delighted to hear the information on parking with cross stitch. She says she's been cross stitching for about 30 years and has never understood how to park threads. She says she's like me, she does one stitch at a time. She's now looking up parking on YouTube and trying to find out a little bit more. She's going to Perth in Australia in just over a week to participate in the World Transplant Games. Oh, I know somebody that used to take part in those. I know his transplant has been not being the best recently. I don't think he's in the games this year, but he has been in the past. But yeah, going to Perth, that's going to be amazing. They are getting the cooler weather, but Perth is still quite warm in itself. So I reckon it should be good weather for you. The flight is long, but just tune yourself out to it. Just resign yourself to the fact that you're going to be on a plane for a while and you'll be fine. She says she has a busy week ahead, so she will leave it until she comes home. She says, but thank you again for all the great WIP and waffles. She says she finds it relaxing to diamond paint and listen to me at the same time. Oh, thank you. I actually had a thought last night because I'm filming this on the day. So I'm filming this just before it goes up. It's half term. So I have Megan watching Luna. And yeah, I'm trying to get my filming done. Though obviously I'm not that far ahead. But I'm trying to get some of the filming done for next week. The non-WIP and Chat videos, so that I can pack launch orders this weekend, because last month was hectic and I like to get them out as quick as possible. And yeah, I had visions last night with my sore throat of waking up and not being able to speak, and I was like, oh, am I going to have to do one with music over the top? And then I thought, well, what good's that? Because people don't tend to watch, they tend to diamond paint anyway. But I'm glad to say I haven't lost my voice. I'm not somebody that tends to lose my voice often. Like in relation to a cold, I know there are some people that can lose their voice, you know, every time they get something like that. So I don't know where that thought came from, but it did pop into my head last night, trying to plan if I do, though it won't do for any of my kitting up videos and things that I need to do next week. I've got quite a few kitting up videos that I need to do, quite a few paintings that I want to kit up. I'm also going to have quite a few kit downs, I think, coming in the next few weeks. I have finished Cosmic. I finished Cosmic last night. So Cosmic Trip is done. I was thinking of saving the last one for Sunday's WIP and Chat, the last section, but I just got too excited to finish it. I just ended up getting too far and it's like, oh, this isn't the full WIP and Chat. So yeah, I finished Cosmic Trip. I'm going to do something else for the WIP and Chat to change it up a bit for next week. And I worked on some of my mandalas, my Paint Gemini mandalas, once I'd finished last night. And I'm also going to start working on dynamic floral. The rhinestones are easier to deal with when it's lighter, when there's more daylight. So I'm probably going to start the evening doing a bit of dynamic floral and then move to the mandalas when it gets a bit darker, if I'm still diamond painting. That's my thought. But I do have a few that I want to kit up. I actually want to kit up 2 large paintings. And you'll see why when I kit up the first one, why I want to do 2 rather than just 1. But yeah, I am going to spread those out over the next few weeks, and I will just work on the ones that are kitted up and sort of add more to my able to diamond paint in the evening as I go along. So yeah, it'd be a bit of a different WIP and Waffle on Sunday because it won't be Cosmic Trip, but it will be one that I think you will like to see, because I'm actually really impressed with how they're turning up. Christine, she says, for the lady who was trying to get bigger canvases, she said she read that Uniquely Yours Down Under was moving. She said maybe they're downsizing as well, or maybe it's just the move is big and there may be a bit more admin work or a bit more, you know, can't be pre-prepared stock with, I mean, this is me guessing, but if I was moving the business in any way, I would be tempted to remove items that maybe take more work or are more personalised, which a blank canvas, you're not likely to have all sizes in stock as a standard. You know, it may be that they're printed to order, and trying to do that when moving, it would probably be safer to just take those down. Whether they bring them back will be their business decision, but if they're moving, maybe that's why. She says Christina's recently been getting back into sewing. She says she's not sure why she stopped. She's guessing it's because clothes are cheaper than getting the materials and taking the time to produce. She says maybe it's just older eyes. No, I believe it's the fact that material and time to make compared to buying is a whole different ball game. Your eyes are perfect, Christine. She says, anyway, she says her daughter hasn't expressed the desire, that's the word, to learn. And then she stumbled upon the Great British Sewing Bee. She said, oh dear, she says that really put the cat among the pigeons. Now she's conflicted between sewing and diamond painting, and her daughter is benefiting as it's a skill that she missed out on previously. I think you now have a daytime / evening time hobby. I think sometimes, especially, it depends what it is. Cross stitch, crochet that you can do sat on the couch in an evening might be a bit of a harder one. But sewing, I can imagine that daylight will definitely help with that. So maybe you need to do like I'm doing with my dynamic floral painting. I'm doing that lighter evening. So I'm still doing it evening time, but I'm doing it when it's lighter. And then I'm going to switch to something else when it's darker. Maybe that's how you could split up your sewing and diamond painting. Do some diamond painting later on in the evening to switch off a little bit more, and do your thinking sewing earlier. It's just a suggestion. And then you get to do both. Sue, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, wow, your Heaven and Earth design painting is coming across coming along so nicely. She said she can't wait to see it finished. Well, 2023 is the goal for it to be finished. She says she's just about to start a Josephine wall painting, which has 220 colours, and that is from Diamond Painting Deutschland. She's excited. That is one that is on my list to do at some point. It's another reason, it's one of the many reasons that I have made getting my Heaven and Earth design finished sort of, you know, a high up challenge, is because I want to be able to do things like one of the Diamond Painting Deutschland, but not at the same time as doing this. I feel like that might be a bit too much for me all at once. So I'm going to try and clear the decks with my ongoing Heaven and Earth design, or at least my two charted ones. Primarily this one. Okay, let me get a second case. Case number 2. But yeah, that chose one of those from Diamond Painting Deutschland with the higher colours is something I wouldn't mind doing. Maybe I'll slip that in before I do my Heaven and Earth design canvas. Maybe while I'm collecting diamonds. Who knows? She says, thank you for all you do for our diamond painting community. She says, and she loves the Admiral's S trays. She says she especially loves the white one and the so cute baby trashy trays. She says she has the red and the blue. Yeah, I love the little trashies. They're so handy to just have about. I actually need to collate mine. They are all over the place. I feel like I have them in so many different places. Though I have been messing about with getting them in with our new storage. I just need the storage to arrive. Storage for the trays, and then I think I'll be able to get them on with the trays. That's my hope anyway. Mary Angel, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she just wanted to let me know that she is learning and getting better at English while listening to you. She says your videos are amazing too. Oh, thank you. She says, keep going, sweetie. She says, love you from Panama. And your writing of English is extremely good as well. That was very easy to understand and no problems with being able to read that while diamond painting at the same time. Bonus! But yeah, I'm glad that it helps. I'll have to try not to throw in too much English slang. Though I often do get pointed out because it can make people laugh if I use English slang. So yeah, you get to learn the way to speak that, well, I do anyway. Alice, she says, wow, she says you did so well. She said getting the diamonds up then. She says she doesn't even have a quarter of what she needs yet. And that's with her friends helping me. She says, so with another few years, she says she might have enough with only a little help. Yeah, and you often can, if you've got some of each diamond colour to sort of start with, you can still start your project and collect them as you go along. I've collected a lot of mine going along. It's only, I think it was when I did the month long in August that I sort of took a recheck of everything that I needed. And people were very kind in helping me get the bits that I needed to sort of fill the gaps, which has allowed me to plough through to finish this year. But when I first started, I did buy a few of the colours, not many, but I did buy a few that I needed quite a few thousand, because I knew even with my spares and spares I would possibly be gifted, it would take a lot for me to get the amount I needed. So I did buy a few pots that contained a couple of thousand. She says she's looking at, Alice says she's looking at an image that has 238 at max colour, but the quick stitch is 89 colours. But she is worried that she'll lose a bit of definition from it, and also converting DMC codes. Oh, the single DMC that have been added in but aren't available for diamonds. She says, and yes, she says, McDonald's have adapted Maccas. Even the adverts say Maccas. Yeah, that always made me smile in Australia, that the Australians have made McDonald's call themselves Maccas. I love it. It's like it's a win for the Australians. 89 colours is still a lot. I do get what you're saying about, you know, the more colours, the more definition. However, if you do think about diamond paintings in general, we do quite a lot of big diamond paintings that are 30, 40, 50 colours, and they still turn out amazing. So just short of 90 colours should still turn out amazing. So that may help if you prefer to do the less colours, if you think about it that way. The main reason I did the max colours wasn't as much for the definition. It was for the fact that I wouldn't need as many diamonds in one colour from my spares if I spread them out over the colours. So it was the fact that I still needed the same amount of diamonds, but I spread them over more different colours, which therefore I figured I'd potentially be able to succeed in hitting how many I needed out of my spares if I spread it out over more DMC numbers. So that's the reason I did it. Tammy, she says she has a question. She said she looked for a canvas in the size that I have. She said, but she can't find it. She said, will you put the link where you got it? For this canvas, there is a link in my Heaven and Earth Design playlist for the store that I got it from AliExpress. But I didn't buy it off a general listing. I had to message the seller to get this size canvas. It's not one that they do as standard. I know the likes of Uniquely Yours Down Under did have the size listed, which is probably because they have had the request for it before. So they've just popped it on the website to make it easier for others. Or it's because they know a lot of people are doing the Little Dreamer's Tree, which is this size. I'm pretty sure Smith's Beads do as well. But for most of them from AliExpress, you will have to ask for the specific size that you want. So if you look at my unboxing video for this canvas, the link will be in there. I don't know if they're still doing it. It was 3 years ago. But I just messaged the seller asking for this size, and they told me which listing to buy, like which other size to buy, but they sent me the size that I asked for to make sure that the cost was right. Michelle, she says, thanks for the video. She said she has watched for many years, but she rarely comments. Silent watcher. I can be one of those, to be honest. She said her diamond painting speed is about 1 to 2 per year. She said she used to stress to get them done, but she's learnt just to enjoy the process. And yeah, we're all different in that. So I diamond paint most evenings. It's always my go-to sit down, relax thing to do. It's very rare that I'm not diamond painting. Quite often, even if I'm watching TV, I am diamond painting. But that is partly, you know, from the way I'm built. Whereas Megan loves to diamond paint, but she's not so much of a. She doesn't do it every single night. It takes her a lot longer to get one of her paintings completed, and that's fine. You just go at what suits you, your lifestyle, your pace, and we can all still enjoy the hobby, albeit at different speeds. It's just good. It works for my YouTube channel, the fact that I diamond paint a lot quicker than most. She says she tends to kit up while she watches, although she says watching the Heaven and Earth design videos by itself, so just actually watching the screen, she said, can sometimes help calm, she says, as she too craves order in a chaotic world. Yes, I'm in here today and I may be doing my Heaven and Earth design video, chatting to you guys, having the time of my life, but I am also still thinking about the tidying up that I have left half done in the conservatory from sorting out some deliveries that came in this morning. But because it was the best time for me to be able to get this video done, I've sort of left it behind to come and do this video. But it's still half in the back of my mind, because tidying the last of that delivery stuff up, getting it away, getting the rubbish in the bin, I know full well will just make me feel so good. So I actually kind of can't wait to be able to do that when I finish this video. She says this project would take her 50 years, she says, but it's good for her to have an endless supply of videos. She said, so happy that you've turned your love into a way to support you. She says, always happy to order and support your dreams. Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. Yeah, it is a blessing. I often think that I often have moments where I'm just like, I get to do what I love doing. My actual diamond painting outside of videos is still done in my spare time. I don't consider it work. I do my Heaven and Earth design section in my work day, but again, that's mainly because I need to do it in the morning, not in the evening. Sorry about that. My battery is going to test my patience today. I can see it happening. I've put a battery in that I don't think is going to last as long as I want it to either. But okay. Yeah, I do diamond paint in my spare time. Yet I get to, you know, do the de-kittings, the kittings up and all the rest of it as part of the YouTube part of my job. But I do love a do love my day-to-day pottering, prepping stock, unpacking things that have come in, packing up orders, sending them out, and all the rest of the background stuff that occasionally can get, you know, all or nothing all at once. But I love a bit of organised chaos as well as the calm that can come after. So yeah, I do appreciate each and every one of you support, whether that be watching and liking my videos or whether that be placing orders from the shop. I do appreciate them all. And I really don't mind working 6 days a week to make it happen. I still feel, I feel like I work less than I did when I was doing my corporate job, though I work more hours. But that's probably just because I enjoy what I'm doing, and I have no idea how I managed to fit it around my job. I don't know how I managed it, or maybe it's just because it has got busier as the months and years have gone on. Yeah, but I'm grateful. So thank you, everybody, for making it happen. Oh, I'm just throwing diamonds everywhere out of the top. I have all my spares stuck in the top of each case at the moment because I'm on the mission to get it finished. And I just threw half of them on the floor. Right, where are you going? You go in there. Try not to lose my way. Talia, she says the population density in Australia, she said, is 3.42. She said, which means for every 1 kilometre squared, there are 3.42 people. Whereas England has a population density of 281. Yeah, that does not surprise me. Hence, we have small houses to fit us all on this island. Yeah, small houses is general here, but hey, I can just organise to my heart's content. I'm forever reorganising. I actually had a conversation with Catherine the other day because she has now chosen her uni accommodation for next year. So I asked, so it's always the thing, because some of them she was going to have the opportunity to basically move out of her current accommodation and move straight into her new one, which is always the ideal, because every time they go to uni, every single one of the girls has done it, they expand the space they used to have at home. And Catherine has done the same. But her uni accommodation this year, she does have basically a month or two in the summer where she will need to move fully home before she can move into her new accommodation. So I actually was plotting and planning where all the Advent stuff would go in between, because summer holidays is when we are planning on getting it into boxes. And yeah, Megan is going to take the knock. Megan's got the biggest bedroom, and it's just her at the moment because Karis is in Australia. So Megan is going to take one for the team. And yeah, we'll be moving the Advent stuff out of Catherine's small room and into Megan's bigger one. Ready for that. So yeah, we're constantly reorganising, and I kind of enjoy that part of it as much as anything else. But yeah, it's a downfall to the small houses that we have, and at the minute house prices and interest rates are sky high. Or at least they are compared to what they used to be So yeah, we'll make it work. I've had the offer of my sister-in-law's garage if I do need to put anything in there. So I've not run out of options yet, which means I still get to work from home rather than going out to a warehouse, which I much prefer. The coffee's far better. Crystal, she says she loves the conversation lately that has been both diamond painting and cross stitch. She said her two favourite crafts all on one channel. Yeah, I love the way that we talk about all sorts of different things. It is diamond painting, but it's also general. We've gone through a few different topics. Cross stitch does seem to be a hot one at the moment, but there is a lot of people that diamond paint that either do cross stitch or used to cross stitch. So it's always a good conversation to have. Also, slang words that are used, different phrases that are used, different ways of living and what people are used to. All that sort of stuff. It's nice to vary it up. And it does make it more like a general conversation as well, not just one topic and nothing else. Makes it more interesting. Kim, she says, thanks for the WIP and Waffle. She says, watching, she says, while she sorts out her drills. That's another project that people like to do while watching, is when they're sorting out all their diamonds. She said she was diamond painting last night and she put the wrong colour in the wrong storage pot when she finished. Ooh, that one, bit of a stinger, but I think pretty much most of us will have done it. If there is somebody listening that hasn't yet put the wrong drills in the wrong pot and mixed them up, or potentially dropped a load all over the floor, I'm sure it will be coming soon enough. It's a horrid thing to happen. You're just blessed if it happens at a time when you are feel enabled enough to actually deal with it. Not get too frustrated by it. I've obviously got a section here now that is just having one of this, one of that, one of the other. So my numbers are going down ever so slightly, but not enough to give me a blank one. Still waiting for that 996. I feel like I've been waiting for that one for an eternity. Hi Rebecca. She said, it's me, Natalie. She said she seems to have a problem and she does blame me for it. Ooh. She said she was watching a bit older WIP Chats where you were talking about angled single places. She said, and how when you tried it, you enjoyed it. Yes, I do need to try them a bit more, really. She said she decided to try the angle placer. The only thing is, she says now she can't seem to go back. Oops. She says all her pens now have an angle placer and she can't see herself going back to using the regular one anytime soon. She said, other than that, she hopes I have a great day. Well, I hope you have a great day too, Natalie. Yeah, I take the blame for a lot of things. I will take the blame for that. I am more than happy to take the blame for passing on tips and tricks that may help you, even if they do cause you a different kind of headache, like replacing all your tips. You obviously are happy enough with the angle tips to switch them out. Sometimes I must admit at the moment, because we've got so many new different pens, and I think I'm using the same one as last time, But I do find sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to change it up. I get lazy. I just take the tip out and switch it into another pen because, yeah, I just get lazy. And I can't be doing with priming a new glue dot, especially when it comes to my Heaven and Earth design. I find I have to think enough to do my Heaven and Earth design without... Oh, I did put that one in the wrong place. Yeah, without having to think about changing and priming a glue dot. Let's try putting that in the right place. I must say I do like the angled tweezers. They have become a firm favourite. There's still a place, single straight tweezers do still work. They are still as good. And they definitely do the job. There is just something about the angled tweezers. It's not as much as the angled tip. I don't think it gives that much of a huge difference because you don't use them as often. But when you do use them, it's like, oh, I've picked up my angled tweezers today. I like those ones. Excuse me. Jo, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, you've inspired me yet again. She says, and this week she succumbed to temptation. Ooh. She said she bought the canvas and drills needed to make the Heaven and Earth design that she finished in a cross stitch last year. She's bought the canvas and drills to turn it into a diamond painting. Whoa, that'll be a nice comparison to do. I've done a few picture cross stitches in the past, and I did think about trying to import the pattern because they were printed ones, to see if I could import the pattern into Pattern Keeper to do in both, because I would love to do one in both. I just don't know if I'm ready to stitch a Heaven and Earth design. I'm ready to diamond paint one for the basis of a comparison. I don't know if I'm ready to stitch one. Maybe I'll have to have a look on their website again and see if there's a small one that I like. She says, speaking of cross stitch, she said when she started hers, she did decide to give the parking method a try. She liked it, but she also learned that she didn't have the patience to remove the needle from the thread and then put it on it again later. Yeah, which is one thing that turned me off. Like, how many times do you want to have to thread your needle? That's why I would just probably use up the whole thread, because at least then it's coming off the needle for a reason, because it needs to, not just because I'm parking it. She says, so she went back to how she used to do it, she says, which is like the way I do. She says, use it until the thread is done. Yeah, I think if I started parking it, I'd park it with the needle still attached, which probably would cause a lot more problems than it would solve. I like the idea of potentially doing a bit of both. So if I do have one where I've done quite a few stitches, but then maybe if I go from here to here, and then I've got another batch of stitches, maybe I'd be happy to pull the thread over and park it, and then maybe stitch up to it to make sure that my counts are right, and cover the thread on the back of it before I finished it off. I could see that kind of being useful. It depends how many times I'd need to do it. If I ended up with too many, I think I'd just get confused. But I think I'd probably keep the needle in it. Try and find a way of the needle staying out of my way so I don't stab myself, but not having to rethread it. because that'd just drive me up the wall. Okay, now I've just got a few awkward ones in this, so I am going to half concentrate, because the next comment, while it's not a ginormous one, it is a long enough one that I need to pay attention to how much I've read and not read. So I'm just going to pop these 3371s in. I always feel like I'm really getting somewhere when I get with this one, but I've only just hit over 400, so there must be, oh, it's because there's a lot of blossom. So I've got about 3 colours of blossom now that I may or may not have in here, and then there's a couple of the symbols that will probably appear in my last case going up there. I know that hashtag one and that one are in my next case. This is the one that there'll be a lot of in this case. Oh, I've got one of those. Only 20. A few more to go. Now 19. There we go. I knew I'd have another one that I had quite a few of. Charlotte, she said, hi Rebecca. She says she's still in her planning stages for her Heaven and Earth design. She says, as expected, she said she'd want the best quality picture. She says, but it also needs to be a manageable size, as she lives in a tiny cottage in Essex, England. She says she's looked through both the mini and the quick stitch patterns on the Heaven and Earth design website. She said it took her a while. I can imagine. I got lost in there for hours before I found Little Dreamer's Tree. And the main reason I went for Little Dreamer's Tree was manageable size. Because even though this one is huge, don't get me wrong, it's 2.5 meters long. It is huge, but it's skinny. And that was, as soon as I saw that I could do a huge one, but it still be skinny, which means I could still put it on my little desk if I wanted to sit and do it on the couch. I've since found that I don't tend to do it on the couch because of the tablet and stuff, but the initial idea was that I could, and it's definitely more manageable not being too wide. Yeah, it took me ages, but as soon as I found it, I knew that would be the one I'd want to start with. She said, her question is, which would lose more quality in the picture, quick stitch or mini? I'm not an expert. I haven't sort of looked into all the patterns on Heaven and Earth design in recent times. I've had the odd browse, but I've not had a full-on compare between. I think you can see a rendering of some of them and what they look like. I would expect that quick stitch would be less quality, because what I reckon would make it a quick stitch is less colours, which is less taking thread off your needle and putting thread on your needle. But maybe while you're still in the planning stages, somebody will pipe up after this WIP and Waffle with a little bit more experience and let us know which one would give the better image. So yeah, stay tuned. Would you pick quick stitch or mini? This is a question to everybody. If you want the better quality looking image when finished, and we can let Charlotte know. She says she enjoys all my videos, and she said, side note, she says she's been off work for this last 6 weeks with anxiety. She says, and she's been watching my videos from 3 years ago, working to current. Oh wow, binge watching my videos. Well, I hope you're feeling better and it's helped in some way anyway, even if it's with your anxiety. But she says she's worked out that your kitting up down videos where you say a lot of numbers is the most soothing. Oh, so maybe I keep reading out the DMC numbers when I'm kitting up and kitting down, to help people relax, even if they're diamond painting at the same time. Maybe it'll help you more. Thank you for the research. She says, thank you for everything you do. She says, you've kept my mind out of some very dark places. Much love, Charlotte. Well, I hope you are feeling a lot better soon. It can be a hard time and we can always give ourselves a talking to, but it doesn't mean we listen to ourselves. In fact, we're probably less likely to listen to ourselves and what we know, and not follow the advice that we would give to other people. That's all I can say. But take time for you, and keep diamond painting, because it definitely helps with mental health. There are too many people that confirm how much it helps, and going from my own personal experience, I know how much it helps. And yeah, I don't think you can refute that for most people, diamond painting can help with the relaxing and the overthinking and all the rest of it. It doesn't work for everybody. You know, if it's not going to plan, it's going to frustrate you more. But for most people, or for a lot of people, it really, really helps. Trish, she says she has just finished kitting up her crown jewel canvas. Ooh. She says she's usually one painting at a time type of person. She says, but she's thinking of doing the crown jewel canvas as well as some of her regular kits. It is, I mean, even though the crown jewel ones are smaller than some of the ones that you can get on the chart, not all of them, but some of them, they are still bigger than most or a lot of other diamond paintings. She says she's limited in space, though she does have a craft room. She says, so she's wondering if it's better to roll up the craft jewel canvas when not working on, or hang it up. She says, your thoughts? She says, since you are the queen of managing to fit a lot of things in a small space. Yes, it's amazing what I can fit into a small space. To be honest, I would roll it up. It's poured glue, so it can handle being rolled and still unroll and go flat and all the rest of it. If you have wall space, it might be nice to have it hung up and see it. Just on the motivation, see it come together, look pretty stance. But rolled up, I would say, would work perfectly fine with a poured glue canvas. I have 2 boxes at the moment tucked behind the bin that I use when packing orders. There is 2 Diamond Art Club boxes tucked there. One is for Cosmic Trip and one is for Megan's. They're both poured glue. Megan doesn't work on hers, or doesn't get a chance to work on hers anywhere near as much as I do mine. But when we need to pack them away, that is where they go. They get rolled up, they get put in the box, they're stood up in a corner. They're easy to get when she does want to diamond paint, but they're tucked away otherwise. So I'd say, unless you have the wall space and think it'd be nice to see it and be able to look at it and remind yourself that you need to do some more, then yeah, I would just roll it up. It'll be perfectly fine. I personally prefer to roll the canvas that does not have diamonds, whichever way it came, rolled inwards or outwards, whichever way it arrived to you, though it can cope with being rolled the other way. It might look like it's protesting for a little bit, but it will sort itself out. However, anywhere that you have put diamonds, make sure that when you get to the point of rolling, you roll that outwards. So it may be that you want to train your canvas to roll outwards. Quite often, I know when I had minions, I think I had it rolled both ways. And when I was about halfway through, it had a piece of the pipe lagging on either end. And it used to fit in the box with the two pieces of pipe lagging until the painting got too many diamonds on it. But by then I found the canvas wrapped around fine and didn't cause any problems. But yeah, rolled up will be fine. Tuck it away. I even roll up this one. This is a double-sided tape one. I do find that I get bubbles in it. I tend to deal with those as I prepare each new section. So as I do my next strip, if there are any bubbles in the canvas just from me rolling it up and down again, I just slice them with a craft knife and make sure that I've squeezed any air out as I go along, and I found it's not been trouble for me. So, but poured glue is even better. It will roll up without any problems. Excuse me. Right, where is this number? 3768. I've just tapped through so many numbers. I've not paid attention to how far across I can go. Cat Lover. She says, thank you to all for explaining the parking method in cross stitch. See, we are all learning new stuff, aren't we? I can just see it. So many people are appreciating the parking method already. She said she ordered a more complicated counted cross stitch pattern and she wants to try parking now. She says, for those that use paper charts, how are you marking the chart when a stitch is parked? She says she is a very experienced cross stitcher. She says, but it appears she is also doing the country method. She said, sorry, don't mean to turn this into a cross stitch channel. She says, but curiosity has got the better of me on this topic. Excuse me. This is this tickly sore throat. Every now and then I have a little mini session where I can't seem to stop coughing. Okay, I think I got it. Thank you for your patience while I pause that. So, Cat Lover, firstly, no need to apologise about the cross stitch conversation. Conversation about cross stitch, or indeed about any other thing that carries on for a while, is because people are interested, and I'm more than happy to discuss it. Everybody else, of course, do give your answers on how you mark. Oh, I don't think I marked that one off. Do give your answers on how you mark things up, etc. From one of the videos that I watched that somebody posted a link to the other week on the parking method and how to do it, she actually was using a paper, and I think she used a different colour of pencil. So when she was colouring it in, I think she coloured it in, I want to say yellow, might not have been. But for example, she coloured it in yellow when it was parked in that square. And then she coloured it in a darker colour when it wasn't. If you always cross stitch the same way, now by the same way, oh, I've got a diamond there that I'm not sure where it's from, so I'm going to put that to the side. If I find I've got a gap later, that's where the diamond is. If not, it's fell out as I've gone along. So yeah, if you cross stitch the same way all the time, then colouring in the square might be fine. However, I don't personally cross stitch the same way all the time. By that I mean I always do the stitch going top right to bottom left first, followed by the other way over the top. So I always have this thread and then this thread over the top. That's always the way I've done it. You may be the other way. However, I don't always start at the same corner. So I don't always start from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top. That will depend a lot on any particular stitches around it. I will always go for the easiest, and sometimes it depends on how I've got myself to do this stitch, whether I've come in from this side or whether I've come in from this side. So if you don't always stitch the same way, it may be that you'd be best marking it with maybe 2 lines around your square box to say, I've put my needle in this corner. Whether you use a different colour for that or not would probably be personal preference. But yeah, that's how I do it. But yeah, I'm sure we will hear in a week or two, depending on how much I get through questions, because I feel like my Heaven and Earth design ones, I'm a little bit more behind than the others. But I should get caught up on some of them. As I say, I'm filming this one on the day. I'm filming this on the Thursday that it's going up. But my plan, all going well, is that next week's will be filmed on Sunday morning. So I'm going to film Sunday's WIP and Chat on Saturday morning, and my Heaven and Earth design on Sunday morning, before then doing launch orders. So yeah, I should get through a few more. So, but it means that I'll probably still be getting through some of the questions. So it might be a week or two until I get you an answer. Or of course, read the comments and then you may find the answer in there if you want a little bit of a sneaky peek on what we'll be discussing in future WIP and Chats. Get those marked off. Taylor, she says she's just started doing Little Dreamer's Tree 3 days ago and she is already at 6% done. Woohoo! It is great starting Little Dreamer's Tree. All the 939 at the top, excuse me, all the 939 at the top really helps. It helps you to get into the flow, I find, of doing it. And new project excitement is always fun. Always. Sorry about that again. Get rid of that coughing. So yeah, Taylor also said, she says she's also just got her first order from us as well. She says, and she sees many more in her future. It's like a bug. Once you've started, you just can't stop. She says she's watched my videos for 3+ years. She says, and she constantly checks for my videos to upload. She says she hopes that her Little Dreamer's Tree won't take 3 years. The rate you're going, it doesn't sound like it will take you 3 years. A lot of it is to try and consistently do some. I think there was a good few months where I didn't do any within the month at all. I have found, you know, once you've done a lot for your excitement, you know, your excitement level of starting, all the rest of it, if that keeps going, great. If for any reason that wanes off a little bit and you find, you know, that you're sort of, try and then set yourself a reasonable goal of a small amount to do each time. Whether that be a section a day, whether that be, you know, a bigger section once a week, just so that you keep plodding along with it. Doing more when you want to, but having sort of a minimum amount that you do. I found where that diamond's supposed to go. It's there. So it was actually just upside down. Yeah, once you've sort of, say, slowed down, try and set yourself a mini goal so that you're still constantly moving forward over a regular time, and then you'll probably find that it will not take you 3 years. I know there is somebody who did start Little Dreamers Tree after me, and they finished it last year sometime. So it's definitely possible to do it quicker than 3 years, that's for sure. Okay, I've got some WIP and Waffle comments, so we're definitely catching up on the Heaven and Earth design. Ina, she says, well done, Rebecca. She says, great, already past the 70% marker. She says, up to your 50% marker for 2023. She says, thanks for another great video. Yes, 50% of my progression for 2023 is nearly done. And considering there has been days that I've not done a section of my Heaven and Earth design, especially the fact that I've not really done weekends, it's perfectly reasonable to say that if you did a section or placed 600 diamonds a day, that you could get this done in a year, under a year. And that's the whole thing. Of course, there may be days that you don't get to do it, and there may be other things, but, you know, if need be, if it goes into year 2, you're still beating me, because I'm in year 3. But yeah, it's perfectly easy to get it done, setting yourself a small goal every single day, and not beating yourself up when you don't meet it for that day. Moving on and picking it up the day after. Yeah, we are on comments from last week's WIP and Waffle. It'll take a while to get through them all, but Jenny, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, after watching you do a couple of Heaven and Earth designs, she says she has finally taken the plunge and she's starting her first one. There is a lot of starting Heaven and Earth designs going on, so you're going to have a lot of support, a lot of people doing the same thing. She says she's enjoying listening, watching/listening to my WIP and Waffles in Oklahoma. Thank you, Jenny. Welcome to the Heaven and Earth design journey, madness, whatever you want to call it. Enjoy the process, and just slow and steady wins the race. This comment did make me laugh. But Guard Puzzle has said, oh my goodness, 100 by 125 Heaven and Earth design. They said that's not a painting, that's a wall rug. Yeah. This one is a very long wall banner, or it will be when it's done. This one is 40 by 250. But even those that are doing 100 by 125, it's It's close to as many diamonds, if nothing else. And yeah, they are wall rugs, but they are just so fun, different to do, different way of doing diamond painting, different thought process, and so rewarding to just see it all sort of come together bit by bit. But my section for today is done, so let's have a look what tomorrow's is. See, again, lots and lots of confetti, so I'm still thinking it's extremely blossomy, that's for sure. But yeah, that is where I'm up to. So I don't know if that's actually somebody there or if it's just, I think it's just blue showing through, but it kind of looks like it could be something as well. I do roll over my Heaven and Earth design with my little roller every now and then, but I thought I'd show you. So if I roll this up, because I still roll this up, of course, diamonds outwards, so thick now, but that's the end of my canvas. Look, it's at the end. So there is a couple of sort of bubbly bits that I can see, but these will all flatten out as I get further down. I only tend to mark off and cut my strip when I've finished this one. I'm doing them one at a time so they don't start coming apart when I roll it up. But yeah, look, that's how much I've got to do. So I reckon July sometime, unless all of a sudden in June I have a spurt. But we've got June waffle, so maybe not. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for today's WIP and Waffle. Do join me for next week's, where I will continue through with your comments. I don't know how much further I'll be, because I've done this one Thursday. That should be my section tomorrow morning. So I might only be over here. But hey, we're chatting anyway. And there'll be days where there'll be more progress than others. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.